Okay, get ready for a wild ride because this deep dive, uh, it takes us straight into the future, like way into the future. The source material lays out this vision of humanity merging with AI and creating like this whole new species called humane.
And it really tries to like ground it in reality. It's not just, some like sci-fi fantasy. The author, Kizzi Nkwocha, uses a lot of real-world advancements in science and technology to back up his claims.
Yeah, it's like he took all those what if questions we always ask about the future and then tried to actually answer them.
Yeah, and he uses tons of examples like from brain-computer interfaces to gene editing to nanotech. I mean, it's the kind of stuff that you usually only see in movies. But he's arguing this is where we're headed.
I know it's a lot to wrap your head around, but it's like,
Hmm.
remember the first time you saw like someone using a smartphone? It probably seemed kind of crazy at the time.
Right.
But now we can't imagine life without them. So Nwocha is saying that's kind of the same thing that's happening here. It's just on a much bigger scale. He argues that this whole merging with AI thing, it's not really science fiction. It's just like the natural next step in human evolution.
He says we've always used tools to like push our limits, right?
Yep.
To become more than we were before. Like think about robotic surgery.
Yeah.
I mean, it used to be this crazy idea and people would debate if it was ethical, if it would actually work.
And now it's like becoming pretty mainstream.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're right. It's like how self-driving cars seemed impossible just a few years ago, and now they're everywhere.
Yeah, it's all part of the same trajectory. Things that seem like they're from sci-fi, they quickly become our reality. And Ngwocha believes that's exactly what's going to happen with this whole humane thing.
So how does he see it actually happening? I'm really curious about the mechanics of it all.
So he really digs into three main scientific fields that he thinks are going to make this happen. The first one is neuroscience, specifically brain-computer interfaces, or BCIs.
Oh yeah, BCIs. I remember reading about how they're helping paralyzed patients like regain control of their limbs.
Right, and he emphasizes that this tech is still in its early stages. Like, imagine a future where BCIs aren't just helping us overcome disabilities. What if they could actually enhance our abilities so we could process information faster, learn things more easily, be even more creative?
It's like having, I don't know, a supercomputer wired directly to your brain.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's one piece of the puzzle. What else?
The second field he talks about is biophysics, which is understanding how life works at a molecular level. So if we can use AI to like understand and then manipulate the building blocks of life, think about the possibilities.
It's like we could potentially slow down aging or even reverse it or boost our immune system.
Exactly. Ngwacha believes that AI could help us unlock secrets about our own biology and lead to these huge advancements in healthcare and longevity.
That's incredible. But it also makes you wonder, like, where do we draw the line? At what point do we stop just enhancing ourselves and start becoming something entirely different?
That's a great question and one we'll definitely circle back to. But for now, let's move on to the third field Ngwacha talks about, neuromorphic computing.
Neuromorphic computing. Okay, I'll be honest, I'm not familiar with that one. What is that?
So imagine building computers that don't just process information, but actually think, more like a human brain. That's neuromorphic computing.
So instead of relying on traditional computer chips, we'd be creating artificial neurons and synapses, like mimicking the structure of our brains.
Yeah, basically. And this is where things get really interesting. Iwocha thinks that by building AI that works more like our brains, it'll create a more intuitive connection between us and AI.
It's not just about raw processing power, it's about making AI that actually understands us.
Exactly. And that's what he says is so important to this whole humane future. It's about building AI that makes us better, not about AI replacing us.
But, I mean, if we're talking about merging with AI, doesn't that totally change what it means to be human? Like, haven't we always been defined by our limits, like our mortality?
That's a really deep question. And it's one that Ngwosha tackles head on in his book. He argues that the lines between human and machine, they're already starting to get blurry. Just think about it. I mean, we already rely on technology for so much, like communication, directions, entertainment.
It's true. Sometimes I try to remember what it was like before smartphones, and I honestly can't even remember. But this whole humane thing, it's like a whole other level. We're talking about like transcending what it means to be human.
And that's what's so exciting about it. Ngwosha believes that when we embrace this fusion with AI, like really embrace it, we're going to unlock all this amazing human potential. He talks about something he calls enhanced cognition.
Enhanced cognition. Okay, I like the sound of that.
It basically means that we would be able to process information faster and easier. We could solve all these complex problems, and we would experience these bursts of creativity that, honestly, we can't even imagine right now.
So we're not just talking about like being smarter, it's about a whole new way of thinking.
Exactly. Imagine if we could instantly access huge amounts of information whenever we want and see patterns and make connections that we wouldn't normally be able to see.
That would be incredible.
Ngocha even thinks that enhanced cognition could help us understand ourselves better, like our place in the universe, and even the whole concept of consciousness.
Wow, that's a pretty deep thought. So it's not just our minds that would change. What about our bodies? Would becoming humane change us physically?
Oh, definitely. Ngocha says that AI could help us overcome all the limits of our biology. Just imagine a world where we could watch our own health in real time and treat diseases before they even happen. Or imagine if injuries could heal super fast and we could actually stop our bodies from getting old.
It's like solving aging. It's like everyone's always said, what if we could live forever, but our bodies keep getting older? This sounds like it could actually be the answer.
Right. And it wouldn't just be about living longer. It would be about living better. Imagine prosthetics that work better than our own limbs, or imagine AI exoskeletons that would make us super strong. We could do things that seem impossible right now.
That sounds incredible. But Nkocha takes it even a step further, right? Doesn't he talk about this collective consciousness? That honestly sounds a little far out there, even for me.
Yeah, this is where things get really interesting. Just try to imagine a future where all humans are connected in a network, kind of like the internet, but even more intense. It wouldn't just be about sharing information, but actually experiencing the world and each other's thoughts and feelings together.
So it's like we would all be linked, kind of like a hive mind.
Kind of, but it's
Yeah.
more than that.
Yeah.
He thinks this collective consciousness would help us have more empathy and understanding for each other. It could break down all the things that divide us and help us work together better.
I can see how that would be amazing for the world, but I also can't help but think about, where does my experience end and someone else's begin? Would we still even be individuals?
That's one of the big questions Nkwocha asks in his book. If we become humane, would we still have our own unique identities and perspectives?
It's a really important question. And it's not the only one that comes up. This whole humane thing raises a lot of ethical questions.
Right, it definitely does. Becoming humane would completely change everything about how we think about ethics, laws, how society is structured, everything. It would force us to rethink everything.
Yeah, where do we even begin? Becoming humane, it's such a huge idea. I mean, it feels like we'd have to rethink literally everything.
You're right, it's a lot to unpack. And Nkwocha, he really dives into the ethical questions in his book. He spends a lot of time on it.
So what are some of his biggest concerns?
One of the biggest ones is that it could make social inequality even worse. Like, what if only rich people can get these humane enhancements? Then you're looking at a future with basically two classes of people. The ones who can afford to enhance themselves and everybody else.
It's like those sci-fi movies where you have the enhanced elites and then everyone else is left behind.
Exactly. And it's not just about who gets the technology. It's about who gets to control it, who decides how it gets used. Those are big questions, too.
So we need to be thinking about regulation, right? And some kind of ethical guidelines for all this. We can't let a few powerful people make all the decisions.
Exactly. And then there's the whole question of individual freedom.
Hmm.
If we're merging with AI, how do we make sure we're still in control of our own thoughts and actions? Do we still get to make our own choices?
It's like, how do we hold on to what makes us human in a world where the lines are getting so blurry?
Right. And it's not just about us and technology. It's about how this would change how we interact with each other. Like, if we can tap into a collective consciousness, what does that mean for privacy,
Yeah.
for individuality, even for love and relationships? It's like Nkwocha is asking us to rethink everything.
It's exciting, but it's also a little bit scary.
Yeah.
It really makes you think.
Yeah, and I don't think Nkwocha pretends to have all the answers, but what he does do is tell us to really think about these questions. We have to be a part of this conversation because this technology is coming whether we're ready or not. He wants us to demand transparency, to hold the people developing this technology accountable.
It's not about saying no to progress. It's about making sure that progress works for everyone.
Exactly. It's about making sure we don't lose sight of our values, of what's really important as we explore all these new possibilities.
Well, that's a pretty good note to end on, I think. It's been a fascinating deep dive. This book, it really makes you think about the future, about what it means to be human.
It certainly does.
And I think that's what we really wanted to get across to everyone listening.
Yeah.
This isn't just some abstract idea, it's our future we're talking about. And it's up to all of us to decide what that future is going to look like. So keep thinking about these questions, keep talking about them, because the future is coming, and it's going to be here before we know it.